What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Magic Square Tyrannosaurus Rex, or their version of a Legend Scale Grimlock. So I got this from Matt Partformer, who let T-Man 978 borrow and then me, so thanks to both of them for getting this over to me. And this is the first in their series of Dinobots, and there's more to come, so I figured let's take a look at this guy. Right out of the box, I did do an unboxing, but right out of the box, just know it is pretty much an unpainted figure. There's a few little spots, the blue on the face mask, the blue, red, and green here, but other than that, it is pretty much unpainted. So in person, it does look a little plain, but they did nail the look of Grimlock. Let's put the cartoon image up there for you to take a look. And they pretty much nailed the look of that cartoon image. Here's the back. He does have the wings, and you can pose the hands however you like. And the head, of course, sits on his back, as you'd expect. The legs are clean. There are panels covering the inside here, so that's nicely done. Overall, the plastic is the typical Magic Square plastic. It's a softer nylon-style plastic, but it does look the part. Let's go over the articulation. The head is on a ball joint. It gets all the way back, forward to there, rotates. Not really much side to side, just due to the way it's designed. The wings can move back and forth on a hinge. And like I mentioned, you can move the arms however you like, the dino arms. Shoulders can rotate around here. You have a butterfly joint that gets you forward to there. So that's a nice movement. And then you have a hinge here that gets a little bit more movement. And just be careful with these backpack, you can kind of get it undone. I'll talk about this in Dino mode, but there is an extension here meant for Dino mode. But you have a rotation here at the elbow. You have a single jointed elbow, but it gets you well past 90 degrees, almost all the way. These toes can articulate, although they kind of get in the way. They don't lock into place. The hand can rotate. These are replaceable hands are on a peg. We'll talk about that in a bit when we get to accessories. But this joint needed a lock to kind of lock it in place, because sometimes you're messing with it and it moves out of the way. And it doesn't get you any extra articulation, so it's not really needed in robot mode. Rotation at the waist. Ab crunch on a double hinge, so you can get back and forward. You basically bend all the way down, so it's pretty well done. Sometimes it moves when you don't want it to, but legs are on a hinge with the hip skirt moving with the hinge, so it'll get all the way up to there. You just have to make sure to move this out of the way, otherwise it collides. I don't know why they do this design, but you have to move this out of the way. Backwards, up to here, this hip skirt doesn't move. Out to the side on friction hinge. Rotation at the thigh around a universal. You have a double jointed knee, gets you up to there. That works pretty nice. You have ankle tilts out to there, and no tilt forward and backward. For the accessories, we do get quite a few here, and just keep in mind as I'm doing this, there's a lot of joints on here that's just kind of loose and don't hold, so as I'm doing this, you might see it flopping around a little bit. But first off, we get new hands that look like this. Kind of sculpted, open, expressive hands. And they do look good, but getting them on there is a little bit of a pain. So you're going to open this up. They're on a ball joint. It's on a thin plastic, so support it here with your hand, and you can get it popped off. It's a very tight ball joint. Just, again, be careful with that plastic. And then getting this one on is annoying because it's got a hinge there. So fold it all the way up and then put it on. It is very tight, and I don't like doing it, but there you go. And spoiler alert, you have to take these off for transformation because it cannot transform with these bigger hands. But there you go. For those articulated hands, you can fold it in and out. They do look good. It's a pain to get them on. Speaking of those hands, you can have it holding this little fish accessory, which you had from the one episode, just painted in this aquamarine color. You can hold that with this hand. So not too bad. Alright, he also comes with his crown here, just done in yellow plastic similar to the chest. There are two wider slots here on the helmet. Those are going to line up with the ears. So get that lined up and then put that on. And it does look pretty cool. He also comes, of course, with his sword done in silver paint and then just red plastic. That will fit in his hand. And that looks pretty good. And we also get his blaster, just done in black plastic, nicely sculpted. And since we have the alternate hand on there, I'll just do this one. And that looks pretty good as well. Just note that the arms likes to slide down, so just slide that back in and then slide those up. And for quick size comparison, there it is next to the New Age Optimus Prime. And he is nice and big, fits in nicely in the Legend scale and towers over a typical Legends figure. Alright, now let's get this guy transformed into his Dino mode. And I will say some of the loose joints and tolerances do make the transformation a little bit more frustrating. It's definitely worse going from Dino to robot mode. Since it comes packaged this way, I'm going to go to Dino mode, but just keep in mind there's some parts in this chest that are a little bit challenging, and I'll point them out. Let's start by opening up these panels right here. They just have a puzzle piece tab that goes into there. Yes, I'm calling it a puzzle piece tab. Untab this from here, and that'll allow you to take this whole front chest piece, unpeg it from here, and bring it downwards. So it looks like that. These will fold down out of the way, and then the back will just kind of fold down as it's unpegged. Just to show you, there's a peg here that goes into the side of the yellow panel here on both sides. And then there's a peg back here that plugs into this yellow piece. And that's why it's a little challenging to go the other direction, because you gotta get all four of those tabs in. Alright, now that we have that down, we can come to here, we can fold these yellow panels in to the chest. We can take this piece here, this is going to come down and just sit right in that cavity. You can take the head, rotate that down, and then rotate it around so it sits flat like that. And we can take these panels here on the side. These are going to rotate around to the back, and you can fold out that gray piece while you're doing that. Same on this side, rotate this to the back, and then fold out the gray piece. Bring these back up. Come to the back here, we're going to get this folded in, and it's going to make its way in between these two yellow pieces. So bring this down, and remember it should sit like that. And bring these around it, and kind of hold these together for now. This is going to come to the back, and actually, just to hold things together, I am going to tab this front chest piece in. Otherwise, it's going to get very frustrating. Bring this down on top of the head. We're going to bring these around, make sure these are folded or rotated around flat. These have two tabs here on the side of the head that are going to go into here, and then a slot and a tab here, and then two puzzle piece tabs are going to go inside the chest. You get all of that at the same time. Make sure you don't miss any of them. So I'll take a look on the top here. Make sure I get this one. There we go. So that's what it should look like. Let's leave these arms on the front. And we'll come to the back here. And you can just leave these down. Actually, why don't we take care of this? Fold the hands down. Fold it in. These are a little bit floppy, so this is one of the issues, but you can do this later, but you're going to extend these dino legs out. They just don't have a locking point. I wish they did. Hold that in. Make sure it's square. And remember, you do have to change out the hands. You can't put the posed hands inside of here. Alright, so leave those out, and we'll take care of the legs. For the legs, you're going to rotate at the knee. We're going to open up this panel right here, just 2 puzzle piece tabs. We're going to rotate the leg out, pull out on this, so I need to lift it up, open up this inside panel, and then tab it back in, and then rotate your foot forward. Kind of matches up here. Fold out the tail so it ends up over here, and then we're going to rotate the leg in at the knee, and bring this all the way in, bring this down, and tab it in down there, and then rotate out the small tail piece in the back. All right, so you can kind of see how this is going to come together. Bring this on the inside, this piece right here. It's going to fit into here, and it's going to tab in right there. Oops. And then you're going to tab it in on the top here. So you want to make sure you got all 3 of those. And leave this for now. We're going to get this right at the end. So just leave that unpegged right there. Great, now we'll take care of this one. So same thing on the side. For this bottom piece, there's 2 little fishtail pieces. In order to get that in, you're going to open up this piece, which I pegged in earlier, which will allow you to give you a little bit of room to lift this out and tab in that fishtail piece. Same with this one. Pull this out, just a little bit of room, and then peg it back in. All right, give everything a nice squeeze, and then you can peg this back in, and then make sure that's squeezed in, and then get the legs accordion back down on the sides. And like I mentioned, these might have fallen down, so just extend them back out. All right, and there's Tyrannosaurus Rex in dyno mode, and it does look good, but it is a very floppy in a few places. You have a little bit of paint. You got, I think, blue paint on the eyes, unless that's a piece of plastic. Red paint here. Those same stripes we saw earlier, and then the stripes up here. That's about it for paint. Articulation. The head can go up and down here. Neck can rotate. You can open up the mouth. He's got some nice teeth in there. There is a spot for a blast effect, but it didn't come with one. So you can put the sword in there if you want. And pretend. I'm guessing a later version will come with a blast effect. You can do that. The arms are on a rotation joint here. Hinge joint up and down. Hinge at the elbow. And then a ball joint for the hand. So you get some nice movement out of those hands. The legs are the floppiest part of the whole thing. This doesn't peg in or lock in, and then this outer in and out movement is very, very loose, but it does go in and out. It does rotate back and forth just like the arm did. It does rotate here, and then the toes can rotate up and down. Like I mentioned, these just do not want to stay. They like to slide in on you as you're posing it, and then the legs kind of go outwards. Just poorly designed, in my opinion. Nothing at the tail, so there you go for articulation. I do find myself constantly pulling these up, though. As far as the other accessories, you can take the gun, and if you want, you can plug it in right here, and storage, so that's kind of cool. And for quick size comparison, there it is next to the New Age Optimus Prime. And you can see it's a pretty big alt mode, or dyno mode. And it does look good, it scales well. I will be bringing in the New Age version of Grimlock for a comparison. I don't have the original G1 version, I have the EX version. So we will do a versus. They'll just be a little funky because I'll have to show some images. And you can see while I was doing this, the legs collapsed on me. But there you go for a sense of size. So final recommendations on the Magic Square Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. It's going to be a partial recommendation. I almost gave it a 2 out of 5. But one of the reasons that this isn't going to get a good score is because we know that this isn't the best that they can do. Magic Square tends to put out the unpainted, sort of cheaper feeling version out first, and then later more premium versions, painted versions. And you can tell that this one is clearly tolerance for paint loose things like that. Getting this pose, you can just see he's just floppy kind of all over. It leads to a frustrating experience when you're posing it. It's not so bad when you're transforming it, but when you're posing it, it does kind of just feel kind of floppy. The plastic consistency is typical for Magic Square, so that shouldn't be a surprise at this point. If you've bought anything Magic Square, this is that same nylon. But when the plastic feel leads to loose, floppy joints, that's when I have a problem with it. And this one has that, and that's why it's a partial recommendation. If you're really hurting for a Legend scale Grimlock, this might fill, but I highly recommend that you wait for the painted version, because you're going to be disappointed when they put it out and it looks way better. It's shinier, the yellow isn't so muted, the red isn't so muted, the joints are tighter. So that's why it's a partial recommendation. Hopefully they put out a more premium version. I'm pretty sure they're going to. But that's really it for today. Thanks to Matt Parts for sending this for review. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.